Hey guys, I'm Janet on occasion, and today we're playing the Total War Warhammer II Battle Replay. This is once again from Gobbo's Tournament of Tournaments, and this is game 2, where I slightly get my act together, hopefully. Anyway, so I'm playing Beastman again. Obviously it's Beastman throughout the entire tournament, so expect more of Beastman. So this is actually a very similar build to the last one. So Butcher's a Calcan Guard, I've got a load of Ungor Spearmen. You might say, oh, this is illegal, I have too many. No, some are shielded, some aren't, which I think is fine. Hey, is this illegal? I have no idea. Anyway, I don't play enough tournaments to remember all the rules, which is unfortunate. I think it's fine, though. Some with shields, some without. It's fine. Anyway, Brace Shaman Shadows. Pretty useful in this matchup, I think. So, basically, instead of Death, I went with Shadows because Occam's Mind Razor, huge damage buffs for, well, my Butcher's a Calcan Guard, mostly. I want to keep stacking stuff on top of them because they're so resilient, they hit so hard, and you know, with my Beast Lord again using Apocalyptic Vision and the Horn of the First Beast, yeah, it just means they're never going to miss, so adding a ton of damage to them is going to be great. But also it's magical damage, it imbues magic damage, which is great against things like Dragon Princes that have a load of physical resist, so you can win out those engagements really quickly and really easily, so that's great. Also Penundral Pendulum to try and bother things like you know, Spearmen for the High Elves. They don't last very long under Penundral Pendulum. It really screws over lightly armoured things, and that's a lot of the front line. So using that. Also, Enfeebling Foe, lower the enemy's defences and attack a huge amount, and Melkoth's Mystifying Miasma to slow things down. So a lot of utility out of this guy. And he's on a chariot, so he can just run in and out of infantry a lot and get a lot of damage there as well. So pretty great. Really do like the Brace Shaman here of Shadows. Very useful. So instead of having a chariot and you know that nonsense, instead I've gone all in with the Centaurs of Great Weapons and Poison Warhounds. So I have 2 over there, and I have the same over here, which are already chasing some Illyrian Reaver Archers that I caught out in the forest over here. So my opponent, he's got the Illyrian Reaver Archers. These guys are great against Beastmen. There's just so many threatening things like the Centaurs that you can, you know, you can basically try and outrun. They've been poisoned now, unfortunately, so they've slowed down. But you can basically keep away from things like Centaurs, but they don't have armor piercing, but you don't need it against these guys, so you can harass them and get a lot of kills with the Illyrian Reaver Archers, and actually they're great in melee if you do need to charge in, so they can get a lot of work done if you can catch things out on their own, especially if Poison Warhounds don't quite catch you. You can pull the hounds away from the Centaurs and double back and wipe them out before the Centaurs can get involved, which is pretty cool. So also he's got the Fireborn. That anti-large is going to be really nice, and also fire damage can help if people bring Morga, which is a popular pick. So Fireborn, pretty damn good there. You know, just really good combat stats. And he's also got Techless, so obviously he has a net. He has, you know, all of those huge buffs that you get, you know, whenever you cast a spell. So extra magic reserves, you know, ward save for everybody. He's got Arcane Conduit, Enfeebling Foe as well, and Regrowth for some massive healing. And he's also got a Noble escorting these guys, some more anti-large and armor piercing. So he's got a lot of good utility units over here. But he's really far away from his lines. So he has Spearmen here, and Swordmasters of Hoeth. Swordmasters of Hoeth will be able to cleave through anything in my front line so easily, but they really suffer from getting charged by Centaurs. They don't do well against cavalry charges. That's the way to deal with them. And also, he has some archers, so just having some archer support is really useful. They can get a lot of damage into Centaurs. Got some Spearmen in the back to protect, and he also has the Signs of Mathland to try and help buff these guys. And I believe he has some, yeah, we go, Sisters of Avalon. So, might be a bit overkill, I think, the Sisters of Avalon. You don't really need something that can punch quite that hard in the Beastman roster, I don't think. Especially if you've got things like Swordmaster Hoeth for killing Bestigors. I don't think you need the Sisters of Avalon. But anyway, we're going to speed things up, and as you can see, Butcher's a Calcan Guard are coming in. I did a feint backwards, but he did net down these Centaurs. But that's fine, because now he's coming in confidently, and I'm just going to get so many units in here. And we'll see very quickly. So we're going to see Apocalyptic Vision, Horn the First Beast, because the Beast Lord is coming in. That puts the Centaurs up to 79 melee attack, and the Butcher's a Calcan Guard. Oh, this is with Enfeebling Foe. They're at 69 melee attack. And I think I'm about to use... did I not use... Oh, I thought... Oh, Occam's Mind Razor. There we go. So Occam's Mind Razor, 154 weapon damage there, which is gigantic. And you can see the Fireborn are just getting cleaved to pieces. A Melkoth's on them as well to slow them down so I can keep chasing them. And everything else is sort of bogged down. Yeah, the Noble and Techless can't hold off against all of this. Also, I had the Brace Shaman just chasing away the Illyrian Reaver Archers. So that's all going great. Over here, though, you can see the Swordmasters are murdering everything. And of course, I did have more Centaurs back here. And I had spare infantry. So now I'm able to bog down these Spearmen and get the Centaurs around into all these Archers. So I'm actually going to get the Hounds on the Illyrian Reaver Archers so they can't keep running around and keeping me busy. And the Chariots can now charge into the Archers. They're going to do a lot of good work. So that's rather nice. Here I use a Penundral Pendulum just to try and help break these guys. So do a ton of damage to the Spearman, and that frees up some more of my units. I've even got this guy in reserve just sat there. So Teclis, I think, may have died, and the Noble is getting chased off. So Butcher's Guard haven't taken a single loss, and they've helped me kill basically everything. So this is more textbook Beastman, guys. This is how it's done. Hopefully this will make up for the previous game where, oh my god, what was I doing? Anyway, some units coming back. Swordmaster's just cleaving through everything. They're going to have hundreds and hundreds of kills. But it doesn't matter, because I still have so many Centaurs. So here, I'm able to just put so much pressure on all of these guys. You know, Sis of Avalon getting wiped out. Signs of Mathland scrambling to try and save them. But, I mean, it's fine. I'll just keep the Hounds there. The Hounds, they're not large units, so the Spears aren't going to get their anti-large, so they can stay in this fight while I use my other units to just chase things down. So here you can see I charged into the Swordmasters to try and do some more damage, and all that armor piercing and the charge bonus is really going to help get rid of them. And I'm going to charge into these Swordmasters now. So charging through these guys is going to be knocking over a load of the models, so they're not able to hit me, and charging into there. Butcher's Guard now joining the fray, and with that huge armor piercing, they're going to be great against things like Swordmasters. And at that point, Army losses hits, because all the heroes are dead. And that is that. So, Pyrrhic victory. I mean, it was Pyrrhic, because I lost a lot of infantry there. Well, I say a lot, I mean 500, but look at this. 193 and 155 kills, the Swordmasters. They just cleave through anything in the front line so successfully. But you've got to watch out for a few things. So Centaurs are going to really hurt. Minotaurs are really going to hurt. And honestly, just Centaurs with throwing axes are going to do a ton of work. You know, from a safe distance. So it's tough, but they will be able to cleave through anything in the front line. So having that support from the archers is actually really good. But I think the Sisters of Avalon, they're overkill. They do too much damage. You know, you don't need that much damage. You don't need the armor piercing. You don't need the magic, and you don't need the fire. Really, all the things you're paying for are kind of obsolete. It would have been better just having, I don't know, maybe a couple of units of Loathe and Seaguard instead. Then the Loathe and Seaguard, even though they got charged, they could fight off Centaurs with that anti-large bonus a bit. So that would have helped, I think. He went all in with that. Also, I think the Illyrian Reaver Archers, vanguarding them, I don't think is worthwhile. Have them in front of your lines if you're going to vanguard them. That way they can just pull back and your archers can shoot at whatever might be chasing them. But having them on the side there, right by the white line, you know, against Beastmen, I mean, Beastmen always vanguard stuff. And they're pretty safe too, because the only things that the High Elves are going to vanguard are Illyrian Reaver Archers. And I guess those regiment are renowned Loathe and Seaguard, actually, which they might actually do quite well in this situation. Oh, and I guess, you know, Shadow Warriors, things like that. But nothing that you can't just run over with Centaurs, right? So I think vanguarding is too risky. So these guys got caught out very quickly, and he panicked, tried to come to the aid of those Illyrian Reavers with his Fireborn. And, you know, even with half of my sort of mobility, I was able just to completely decimate it. I mean, 29 kills, and they got the charge on a pinned unit of Centaurs. They just got wiped out so quickly. It was unbelievable. So, yeah, all of those attack buffs all stacked on top of each other. And, you know, Occam's Mind Razor, everything. It was crazy. So, yeah, you don't want to be in that position. So, you know, the Fireborn, they might be better just to hold back and plug up the gaps. Because, and the Archers, you know, they'd be able to keep things at a safe distance. It'd be really hard to get in there. And especially with the Spearmen, the Swordmaster kill everything in the front line. It'd be really difficult for me to probe and find a way in with all of my mobile units, just with, you know, a few spears and some archers shooting at them as they're trying to get in. And, you know, if anything did, the Fireborn could charge at them, wipe them out almost straight away, and they wouldn't have really had too much of a tough time. So I think you've got to play more defensively as the High Elves in this particular matchup. It's risky charging the Fireborn out because they're going to get caught out. Just Centaurs are too good. You know, they get the surround on stuff, they can wipe it out. All that armor piercing, it's just great. They are really good units. Real glass cannons, though, which is why it's great if you can get the charge on them, and they're on their own. You're going to wipe them out. They need their numbers. So if you can stop all of them being able to get in the back line, you can defend it quite well. So I think that's the way to do it. But Simple Six, he is new to tournaments, and I think he did fine. You know, he did okay. It was just that one mistake at the start cost him too much. It cost him far too much. He really played into my hands there, which was a pity. But I love the Swordmaster in the front line. They're just a panacea for all Beastman infantry. If I had Morga, you know, they would have killed him. Honestly, that anti-infantry, they do so much work. So I think that's good, you know. I think that's a nice front line, but I think the back line, too expensive, too elite, and he knew he should have known he couldn't win the cavalry engagement, so he shouldn't have pushed them so far forward. He needed the support of things like his archers. Because, yeah, if his archers were able to shoot into that blob, then, you know, I would have lost a lot of centaurs there. But he was too far away. He spread himself too thin there. And I think that's what cost him the game, unfortunately. But still, you know, well played, and he knows not to do that again. We had a bit of a chat afterwards. He realised, yeah, that was suicide. So, yeah, good sport. So, guys, if you enjoyed this, please do comment, like, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Have a good day, guys.